Forget the three musketeers. A dynamic duo will do when it's Kyrie and Luka on the floor. It's the Mavs hosting the Clippers in Game 6. The Mavs just trying to take care of business. Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving had a rough first half, combining for just 6 of 21 shooting and 0 for 9 from deep, but they brought it in the third. Doncic pulls up from deep, hits it. Same score. Mavs in transition. Irving now pulls up and hits it from deep. Mavs up by 8 at this point. They were coming alive in the third. Irving pulls up from way downtown. Things will be great there, and hits as many as the entire Clippers team. That's what Irving and Doncic combined for 20 in the third quarter. On to the fourth. Mavs up by 20 at this point. Irving drives on PJ Tucker, steps back, drains the mid-range. Not Kylo Ren. It's Kyrie Ren, the Clippers antagonist, from the same spot on the floor. Puts Tucker in a spin cycle. Fadeaway three, gets fouled, hits it. Mavs win. Tim McMahon on Kyrie's night.
Just call Kyrie Irving the closeout king. Irving's teams are now 13-0 in games he plays with a chance to clinch a playoff series. And he slammed the door on the Clippers in spectacular fashion, scoring 28 of his 30 points in the second half of Game 6. As his Mavs teammate P.J. Washington put it, it's like 2K. He had a Mamba takeover. Luka Doncic made a point to try to get his co-star in a groove during the second quarter. Irving calmly assured Doncic that he'd get going, and he certainly delivered. With a big smile, Luka said, "Never a doubt with Kai." In Dallas, Tim McMahon, ESPN.
Thanks, Tim. With that, we're going to bring on our NBA analyst, Scott Perry, with more on the Clippers and that early exit, because they looked like a legit championship contender until those injuries derailed those expectations. Scott, how realistic, though, is it to keep the big three with Kawhi, Paul George, and Harden?
Christina, it's definitely realistic. And here's why. They've already started the process earlier this season by extending Kawhi Leonard's contract. And due to the restrictive nature of their cap situation, they're almost forced to make sure they keep Paul George and James Harden, because making trades will be very difficult for this team. As you noted, when the three of these guys were together and healthy, they look very poised to make a deep run in these playoffs. So you got to try to bring them back together again. And also, I think how you get better is internal development for some of your younger players. In particular, Terrence Mann, who continues to get better each season, is someone you look to carry more of a load during the regular season next year. And maybe young wing players like Brandon Boston and Moses Brown make a step up. That's what you need when you're not able to bring a lot of new pieces to your team. They can take a page from the Miami Heat's book. They do an excellent job of developing second-round picks and undrafted players and making them key components to a winning basketball team. Yeah, you need your players healthy, Scott. That's obvious, and it's never a good time to have to deal with that, much less in the playoffs. We haven't only seen that with the Clippers. We saw that with the 76ers as well. We're going to take it to the East because they're in a similar spot with injuries hampering their playoff run. Who's a potential free agent who could help this team take that next step? The name that you hear most often is Paul George, and I'm in agreement with that name for the Philadelphia 76ers. They need a big-time two-way wing player. Paul George will give them a reliable 20 to 25 point a game scorer. He has a history of playing well alongside other all-star players. They're going to need somebody alongside Tyrese Maxey, especially and Joel Embiid, to help carry the load in the regular season, because as we've seen, it's been difficult for Joel Embiid to be healthy come to playoff time. So if they can get a reliable guy like a Paul George to fit with those two guys, I think it improves their fortunes during the regular season to have a higher seed, and hopefully Joel Embiid will be healthy enough next time around in the playoffs so the Sixers can make a deep run. Yeah, that's always a hope for Embiid, because even with all those injuries and the illness, of course, we know that he still really showed up. But Philly hasn't made even the Eastern Conference Final since 2001. More with Scott in a moment. Randy, Scott?
I'll say it, Christina. In-season championship curse? Oh. The Lakers fired Darvin Ham yesterday, doing so after a 2-season run in L.A. that saw Ham take the Lakers to the Western Conference Finals just last year and then win the in-season tournament title this year. But losing in 5 to Denver in the first round last month was all the front office needed to see, apparently. Ham did get the Lakers to that conference final last season against the eventual champion Denver Nuggets, but this year's result was more of the same for LA recently. Since winning the 2020 title in the bubble, the Lakers have gone without a playoff series win in 3 of the last 4 seasons, and they've lost 8 of their last 9 playoff games. So, Scott Perry, what do you make of this decision in Los Angeles to move on from Darvin Ham?
Randy, from where I sit, I was not in favor of this move of getting rid of Darvin Ham for the reasons you just mentioned. In 2 years, he's done a really good job. He's amassed a 90-74 record. They go to the conference finals in his first year, losing to the eventual champion Denver Nuggets, and then come back and lose to them again in the first round of the playoffs. Now, having been part of having to make these kind of decisions as a front office executive and move on, it's going to be very important that you have someone in mind who is an upgrade over Darvin Ham. And the only person I can think of right now with a championship pedigree who is readily available is a guy like Mike Budenholzer, who has a championship ring, and maybe he can walk into that locker room with that kind of pedigree and for guys like LeBron James and Anthony Davis to buy into. So we'll see what happens here. But again, Rob Pelinka and the Lakers organization must have seen something inside the locker room that they felt it was necessary to move on that I'm not able to see from where I sit.
Whoever gets this job better rent and not buy. Ham made it 2 seasons. The Lakers haven't had a coach last more than 3 seasons since Phil Jackson. It's Scott Perry making us smarter on SportsCenter.